Hey guys, today we are going to understand one of the most important concept, which is basically about test automation. And I haven't discussed this thing in our entire video till now, right? And that's why it is going to be one of the very important. And also this is the must know question, right? Everyone must know if you are doing the test automation. Otherwise, if you are telling, like, if you are explaining this to your interviewer and you are explaining the wrong steps, right? And then that person will immediately come to know that you have not worked into test automation, right? And that is the reason I'm going to explain you everything end-to-end automation process in your project, right? And I'm going to walk you through step by step so that you can actually practice it also, right? So after, what you can do, actually you can watch entire video and be ready with your pen and paper. You note the steps basically and actually try to replicate the same thing in your machine as well, right? And then that will actually give you the very good confidence, right? And hope you understand that, right? So let me actually start this understanding, right? So when I say end to end, right? End to end means basically I'm going to start and then I'm going to end something, right? So it means that starting from writing a script basically, right? Test script, let's say Python scripts I'm going to write, right? So starting from here, and then how my Python script will be running on a scheduled basis, right? So I don't want to run it manually. I want to just schedule it on a certain frequency on certain days, and basically it is going to, so I would say automated uh, run. All right. So basically we are looking from writing a script to making it automatic, right? So these are the entire steps that we are going to cover here. Okay. So let me basically tell you what are the things that we are going to cover here. Okay. So pay full attention, guys, right? We are going to use quite a good amount of tools and technology here in this case, right? So first thing is basically, okay, first thing, the tools that we are going to cover here is we are going to use one of the ID. So we are going to use PyCharm, right, as our Python ID, right? And then after that, we are going to use GitHub. All right. Why GitHub? Because we are actually going to put the code onto GitHub. Okay. This is our version control, right? Control version control, VCS, right? Version control system, right? And then after that we are going to create a CI/CD, right? You must have heard about CI/CD, and this particular tool we are going to use Jenkins, right? So that's why you understand, guys, we are going to write a script. We are going to keep our script on a centralized location, central repository, a remote repository, which is in the GitHub, right? So remote repository, and then we are going to fire the kind of Jenkins commands, right? And then this Jenkins is basically kind of, we are going to run it through Jenkins. So person who have the access of Jenkins is just the UI. I'll show you everything, guys. So once it doesn't need any expertise to run these jobs, right? So it's as good as that anyone can come and just hit the job and the thing is done basically, right? So this is the basically whole purpose of automation, isn't it? Like anyone should be able to run the job without having any technical knowledge as well, right? So the person doesn't need to even know what is PyCharm, what is GitHub, etc. The person should actually have one interface and he can just hit a button, right? Okay, so basically we are going to cover all these tools and what you say, basically all these utilities, right, in our script. And that's why you have to watch everything step by step and make, as I said, keep a pen and paper and you note all these steps and you also replicate it. I'm saying it because this is the thing that nobody will tell you end to end, right? You go and watch entire YouTube, nobody is going to tell you first of all, right? So I'm going to tell you this thing and make use of it, and this is the best thing that you can actually, and having this knowledge, right, end to end, because this is how it actually happens in the industry, right, in your project, right? So nobody is going to tell until people have this exposure, right? So that's why I'm telling you now. Okay, so pay full attention, guys, one by one, step by step, and then you are all done basically. Okay. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's do one thing. So what we will do is I have, let me go to PyCharm, and then from there on we will start basically. Okay. So let me go to PyCharm first. So this is my PyCharm, guys. Okay. So what I have done is basically I have written a framework which is basically the Python framework using PyTest. All right. And this framework is basically having four different test cases. Okay, so I'm not going to walk through all these test cases. These are just functions, and each of these functions are having basically some tests that we want to run, right? So first test is basically talking about uh, I'm assuming that I have a target table, right? A target file where I have already data loaded, right? I want to test this ETL things, right? Basically some of the checks from the ETL testing, right? So I want to test whether there is any duplicate record in my target or not, right? This is one of the very famous kind of tests that we do, right? For that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a function, and then I have basically I'm reading this particular file, which is my target file, and then I'm just going to check whether we have any duplicate or not, right? So I just took the count, and then I'm checking whether the count equal to 0 or not. If there is any duplicate, then basically count will not be 0. In that case, it will flag you some error. So duplicate found, please verify the target, something like that. I'm going to show throw as part of assertion, right? So assertion is basically what? This basically do the verification. It checks if the test is passed, then it will not give you anything. It will say just pass. And if it is not, I mean, this is the condition, right? If it is not true, then it is going to display this, whatever we are going to write the custom message here, right? Similarly, there is next test, which is basically if target is blank or not, which means I want to check whether I have the kind of target table or target file basically, right? Where do I have any data or not? Like if there is nothing loaded in my target, right? In that case, I'm basically checking whether there is data loaded or not. If it is not loaded, then I can say something like that: target file is empty, please verify the ETL process, right? There is something wrong with the ETL process in that case, right? So this is the second test, right? Third test, I'm just walking you through, guys, so that you can be kind of clear about this. These are very, very basic test cases that I have written, okay, just for you to understand basically. Third test is basically talking about the department number in that particular file, right? I'll show you even. So this is my file basically, you can check. We are performing all these checks on this file, right? So we have the employee number, employee name, department number, salary. These are basically CSV file, right? And now all these test cases are based on this particular output file, which is my target file, right? Now third test that I was discussing is department number. Uh, what I'm expecting is I'm not expecting any record to have any duplicate, I mean null value, right? So I want to make sure that department number should not have any null value, right? In this case, I have a null value here, right? Something like that. Department number, yeah, right? So I just want to make sure, right, that we don't have any null value. If there is any null value, right, in that case, what I'm going to say, I'm going to say that one second. Hmm. All right. So guys, what I'm going to check here is basically whether department number field is having null or not. Okay. If it is null, then it is going to basically tell me that there is a null value in the department number. Please go and check why it is, right? And then fourth test that we have is basically we want to check whether employee number, which I am expecting it to be primary key, right? Which means I am expecting it to not having any duplicate basically, right? So in this case, what I'm going to check is whether this particular employee number is having any duplicate values or not, or it is unique or not, right? So that is what the fourth test basically, right? So let me do one thing. Let me on this sample data itself, right? Let me try to run it here, and then basically we will go to the next step, right? So once we understand it, right? So if you look at this data, okay, we have employee number, employee name, department number, salary. Now department number is basically somewhere it is blank. So what I'm expecting is basically in this test case should be failed, right? Which one? The department number. So this one will be basically, is there any duplicate? Let's check. First test. Do we have duplicate? We do not have any duplicate. Okay. So this is time supposed to be pass. Data completeness also is supposed to be pass. Okay. And then assert, okay, okay, fine. And then okay, this is also pass. And then department number, this one I'm expecting it to be failed because I am having some duplicate, sorry, the null values basically, right, in department number column, right? And then employee number, I am not expecting. So in this one, okay, I'm expecting, okay, department number, this one is not kind of primary key, right? So this is 2 2. coming, so it is duplicate kind of thing, right? That's why it's not a primary key. I'm expecting two of the test cases to be failed basically. Okay, let's try to run and see how basically what happens, right? Now if I go basically to terminal and let me run it from the terminal basically, right? And that's this will this is kind of a command line, right? So if I can just say py.test and then what is the name of this test underscore etl, let me to complete it. Okay, now I will say verbose so that I can see the more meaningful data basically here. Okay, right, the test result. Okay, let's run it. All right. So guys, exactly. See, two tests are failed and two are passed basically, right? So which are the failed? First one is failed. Department is having a null value, which is exactly correct. Okay, and employee number column is not a unique. Okay, we will try to fix it also later. Okay, but see, this is how basically it is giving me. If I can go and fix it on the data, then it will be perfectly right. So if I can say this data is basically target is having failure, right? If I can just say 10 and here also if I can 10 20 maybe something, so I am not expecting department number. Here my department number is having some value, right? And here if I can just run it 3 maybe. Okay, I think both of the tests should be passing. I just saved it. Now let me try to rerun it again. Okay, and let's see how it goes, right? Okay, 1 second guys, just give me a second. Okay, let me run it and let's see what happened this time. See, all the four test cases are passed actually this time, right? And this is basically how we can actually run it, right? But this is not how it happens in the real time project, right? So we will go to the next step basically. What we have to do, since all these details and scripts is basically locally within my machine, right? Within my machine, what I need to do is in the real project, you along with other developers or other QA engineers will be basically contributing to the code, right? Code base of your automation framework, right? Test automation framework. And then you all are supposed to check into some remote repository, right? For that we have to use a GitHub basically, right? GitHub is a repository where we are going to push all this code basically. Okay, so let's go and create a new repository and try to push the code basically. Okay, so what we have to do is let's go there. Okay, so this is my GitHub. Okay, so you don't have any GitHub repository, you can go github.com and then you can basically create your own repository. It is free of cost guys. So it's basically utility that you can use basically. So this is the place where you can actually create repository. Let's do one thing, let's create a new repository. Okay, so I'll create a new repository where I will keep all my automation code, right? So what I will say is ETL test automation framework framework repo. All right, maybe I think it is available. Right now I'm going to create it as a public. Okay, so that I can basically upload everything. Now I say create, nothing else guys, simple, right? Now I created this, right? So this is the repository it's created. Now I have to basically upload the files on this particular repository, right? So what I will do, I will basically go and I will run certain commands basically. Those are the GitHub commands, right? So what I am going to do is I am going to just go there and I have to basically push this entire code which is there in my local to I have to basically 1 second, let me do one thing, let me push this code into GitHub, right? So what I do, I have to run one command git init. Basically I'm initiating a git, so it will create a .git file basically in this particular folder, right? So if I say here git status, if you can see it here, so there are some files basically here, right? So all of this file. Now what I will do, I will basically, there are certain steps. So one thing is basically git init, and second step is git add, and then I can just say star guys or dot, like it means that everything which is there in my this current location, right? Correct current directory, everything will be kind of added, right? Now third command that we have to use is git commit basically, so that it will actually commit a stage, right? Now I will say push code to remote repository. Okay, will not go in much detail about this, but these are the basics command that you have to run basically. Okay, now can we check what is that git status now? Okay, there is nothing to commit, basically everything is committed. Now what I have to do, since I have all of this basically created, right? Now I have to basically just push this code into um, remote repository, right? So what we have to do, we have to first make a connection from this local repository. This is my local repository, right? From here to basically Git, right? So what I have to do is I have to run this particular command. Basically I have to make a connection. Okay, so let's copy this and run this particular command. Okay, all right, now connection is built. Basically now what I can do, I can just push this particular code. Okay, one second guys, let me just give me a second. One second, not here. Mm, 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 mm. Here, right? Okay, this is the one, right? Git push u origin and not main. Basically I have to say master basically here. Okay, so let's go, and this is the last command. Okay, and not main, because we have master actually, right? The branch is master. If I can show you here, it is basically not main. This is little old thing, right? But it is basically a master. So let's run it and we'll come to know. Okay, all right, let's run it. All right, it will take a while because it's basically pushing. So everything is done, counting 100%, everything is done. Basically, it is saying that origin master, right? Master to master. Basically, we are actually able to push it. Now, if I go and refresh this particular page, right, this particular repository, okay, we'll see that we have some files which are created. See, these are the files which are actually uploaded on my, basically on this GitHub repository, and this is basically on the github.com, on this particular remote repository. Now this file is as good as anyone actually can pick these files and do the modification within your team and all, right? And that is what this is, the version control system now, right? Now we are able to basically push. Along with that, there are some other files as well, right? So we have .main file and other things, but we will be using mostly these two files because this is my data, right? This is my raw data. You see, this is the data, and then we have this is my code that we have written, isn't it? Okay, so these are four different test cases. Okay, now since we have the code here right now, what we will do is we will go and Jenkins and we'll create a Jenkins job, right? And we will run how many times we want to do, right? We want to run it, right? And let's see how it works end to end. Now we will integrate this GitHub, right? Because since we have uploaded this code, now we will go to GitHub, sorry, Jenkins, and we will, let me log into Jenkins first. Okay, so if you have not done it, you have to basically uh, kind of download a Jenkins file, kind of, you just have to install the Jenkins, right, your machine, and create your account. Basically it's very simple. Okay, if you need any video on this, let me know, but I assume that it should be very easy. Okay, now I'll create a first ever Jenkins job. Okay, so what I will do, I'll go to new. Okay, and here what I will say is, I will say that ETL test, what I will say, ETL test sanity checks, something like this, right? uh, that's fine, I guess. Okay, and I'll choose freestyle projects, guys. Okay, freestyle projects, and then I'll say okay. It will take a while. Okay, now what we are going to do, you can actually put some some description. This is my Jenkins job for sanity check of my ETL process, whatever. You put some description here, right? It's not mandatory, but it's good to put some description so that people who are new or other person can understand, right? Now let's go to the next option. Now source code management, this is most important thing, right? Now instead of none, we are going to choose Git, right? Why Git? Because we are going to pull our code from the not from the local, but from this particular Git, right? That's why I'm choosing this, right? Now if I can go here, okay, let's go here basically once. If I can just go back here, I will get I'll go to code. Okay, and I'll get this particular path, right? So this is my URL, right? URL for the repository. If I just say URL for the repository, One second. So, okay, so it has taken, but first time if you are there, then you have to create a credential, guys. Okay, but for me it is already there. I have already done it, right? So but you have to add it for your first time, and this is the GitHub credential basically that you can do it, right? Now this is all done. Now I will go and configure. I have to add few more things basically. Okay, I just go and configure this job again. I added few things here. Okay, now I will add one most important thing here is basically build step, right? This is important, right? So I have already told this is my location, but what exactly I want to do, I am going to tell now in the build step. Execute window batch command, okay? Because we are going to run the Windows, right? Because my Jenkins is on the Windows, right? So we are going to run the Windows commands, right? So what are those commands? We have already ran it several times here, right? To execute it, right? What is that? Basically, this is the command, right? This is the one to execute my uh, to execute the file, right? Okay, the test basically. Okay, now if I go and I just say it like this, okay, that's it, nothing else is important. All done, guys. Okay, we are done. Let's try to build the project now, whether it is successful or what. So now I click on build now, and now you see that something is working. If I just click here and if I go to console output, I can see something is building up here. And you see, guys, very nicely all the four tests are passed actually, and here it is telling also, right, which are the tests and everything, nice detail about all these four tests, right? Okay, and every detail about it, right, it is telling what platform, what script, and everything it is giving, right? Now you can imagine, right, how easy this is, right? Anyone can come and the person can come and actually hit this job. Okay, that's it, nothing else, right? So if I can just go there, okay, if I can just go here, this is my job, right? If I can just say build, right, anyone who have access to this particular location, right? This is my local, since it is my local machine, but generally you have the link or you have the URL given for your Jenkins machine, right? And anyone developer, tester, or anybody, right, manager, they want to basically run and see whether job is completing or not, they can simply click like build, okay, and then they can just go and check how it is working basically, right? This is very helpful when you want to do regression testing, right? Again and again for some purpose, right? And then regression testing for that purpose, it is very useful, right? So this is all about this basically I wanted to tell you guys, okay? And if there is any failure, you can actually get all the details here and you can actually raise back. So finish, this is basically finished with success actually, right? So this is what I wanted to tell you end to end, right? And hopefully this video is one of the most important video that I have ever taught you guys in this entire series, and I thought that this might be very helpful for you guys. Okay, that's why I thought of covering this, and I hope that this video has added a lot of knowledge to you, and if you like this video and it has added some value to you, if you are visiting first time on this channel, do subscribe, considering subscribing this channel, share with your friends, and also don't forget to hit the bell notification so that you get more amazing video. So guys, if you want to learn the full test automation of ETL testing using Python, so we are going to launch a course which is going to be kind of weekend batch, right? So it's going to be weekend batch, and the course is going to start from 31st of August basically, right? And if you want to know about the course content and every details will be available in one of the video that I will be actually putting in the I button or also in the description box, right? And if you are interested for this particular course, you can basically kind of send your nomination through Google link. The link will also be sent in the description of this particular video. All right. So let me show you which video. So this is the video basically that is new weekend batch alert, right? And you can basically, you will find the Google link here as well, okay, to put your kind of request or you put your interest there. And also I'll be sending you both the links basically, for the video link and for the course content, and also the Google form link, so you can actually also send your inquiry, your interest basically, and then we will take it up forward from there on. All right, so yeah, that's all for this video. All right, bye.